Hey, it's Mike from I Miss the 90s. I'm kind of running out of ideas for my next video, so we were wondering if maybe we could jump in on this one since it's a 90s movie.
Hey, ask him if we're gonna get paid.
All right. What's that?
Hey everyone, my name is Mike O'Connor and I host the YouTube channel I Miss the 90s. Sorry to hijack the Unapologetic Geek's transmission, but he's starting to get into my territory on 90s pop culture. The difference between Eric and myself, though, is that he will give you excellent, in-depth information pertaining to awesome sci-fi movies, whereas I will almost always have a treasure trove of weird and useless facts, personal anecdotes, and usually a dumb picture of me from the 90s. There's that picture. The first few minutes of a movie is responsible for setting the tone for the rest of the film. It's meant to be a signal like, hey, this is what we're going for. And Tremors does that beautifully, with Kevin Bacon peeing off the side of a canyon. Coincidentally, another movie from the 90s also opened with the main character relieving themselves. I'm talking about Waterworld, starring Kevin Costner, which was dubbed the most expensive film ever made at the time. When I was 12 years old, I saw Waterworld in theaters with my mom, and I thought it would be a great idea to record the movie. Now, not with a video camera, but with my talk boy. Because, I thought it would be cool to relive the movie Waterworld with audio only. I don't know. I was dumb. I'm not gonna throw out a bunch of facts about Kevin Bacon to you. He's a megastar. I mean, somebody invented the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game due to his massive success. Now, don't worry, I do have a special 6 degrees at the end of this. Instead, I'm gonna talk about 3 of my favorite characters in this movie, like Burt Gummer, played by Michael Gross. Normally, I have problems with characters that are one-dimensional, and Gummer can... he can kind of be seen as the guns are my identity type, but much to my surprise, he ends up actually being a mostly rational character throughout. And I'm honestly shocked that he wasn't killed off in the movie in like a big blaze of glory. Michael Gross has had a successful acting career, and he was a voice actor in one of the best animated shows from the 90s, Batman the Animated Series. In the episode See No Evil, Gross plays Lloyd Ventrix, who's an ex-con who steals an experimental plastic that turns invisible. He fashions a suit out of it so he can visit his daughter, who he's not allowed to see due to a restraining order his ex-wife has taken out on him. I mean, that's some pretty heavy subject matter for a kid's show. Maybe. Of course, you can't mention Burt Gummer without mentioning his wife, Heather Gummer, played by Reba McEntire. In 1990, Reba had 3 songs in the top 3 US country music charts, with You Lie rightfully in the #1 slot. Reba joined the growing list of musicians taking on acting roles, and I'm gonna argue that she actually did a pretty decent job. Her acting skills are more in line with Madonna in A League of Their Own, as opposed to Madonna in 2002's Swept Away. Now, the last character that I want to touch on is Walter Chang, played by Victor Wong. I've always known Victor Wong as the awesome grandpa from 3 Ninjas, and it turns out that his final role before his death in 2001 was 3 Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. Now, one thing I'll say that surprised me was a lack of any problematic dialogue and interactions with his character. The 80s and 90s certainly had downright offensive characterizations and racial slurs directed at Chinese characters. I mean, even in kids' films, like Sidekicks with Chuck Norris.
May I help you?
You can help everybody in this place.
I'm not gonna play that clip. Just trust me. And in this horror comedy set in a tiny desert town in Nevada with a character like Gummer, I mean, I honestly expected it to go down a different path. Thankfully, it doesn't. Wong has the best death scene in the movie, and I find myself actually really bummed out that his character didn't make it to the end. One of my favorite pieces of trivia about Tremors were some of the working titles thrown around for the movie, like Beneath Perfection, Dead Silence. But my personal favorite is Land Shark. We're gonna take a final vote here on the name of the movie. Everyone raise your hand if you are in favor of Tremors. Raise your hand. Okay, good. Now, how about land shark?
Yep, land shark right here.
Come on, no one else? Really? Todd, come on, you said... This is bullshit. Well, looks like Tremors won. Huh? I feel like the reason they scrapped that is because it's a little too close to one of the reoccurring sketches on Saturday Night Live with the same name, but that could just be a rumor. Tremors is a classic horror comedy film that paved the way for others in the 90s like Arachnophobia or Lake Placid. But what I find interesting is that you almost can't even tell that this movie was made or even set in the 90s. The characters, the cars, and even the clothing is almost timeless due to the location in which the movie is set. Now, there are hints here and there, like this bottle of Crush or the glass bottles of Gatorade. Hell, I'd even say that probably the strongest evidence that this is a 90s movie is Gummer's Atlanta Hawks hat. I mean, it couldn't be set in the 2000s because that was a terrible time to be a Hawks fan. I mean, look at that record. It's bad. Now, before I hand it back over to Eric, I did promise a special 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And since my channel is focused on 90s pop culture and I grew up in the 90s, I'm going to pick Jason David Frank, aka the Green Ranger. All right, Jason David Frank was in Turbo, a Power Rangers movie with Hillary Shepard Turner, who was in Addams Family Reunion with Kevin McCarthy, who was in Hero at Large with Kevin Bacon. I did it. And I totally didn't look that up online, because I did. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much, Eric, for having me on your channel. I hope I didn't lose you too many subbies. Again, my name is Mike O'Connor from I Miss the 90s. Later, dudes. All right, that should do it.